All right, guys. Today is June 15th, 2025. Coming in for the live stream. Happy Father's Day to you and yours. We're going to talk about Dead City, other shows, other stuff we're watching. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, June 15th as we make this a live stream for the next hour. Fight for Us 2 Catalyst is out now. I got that out this week because I was really happy and excited to get it out to on Amazon, on paperback and digital format on Kindle. And what are you guys watching? So we got to talk about Dead City. I don't know if it's a zombie bear. Was it a zombie bear? I think it was just a mauled bear that was in last week's episode of Dead City. Have not seen episode 207, but Dead City just continues on a path that is just kind of laughable for a lot of people. It's not that good of the Walking Dead franchise, the Walking Dead universe. It's one of the weaker shows in my opinion, but Negan is, again, keeping the show alive in my opinion. So thank you guys for taking the time to be here. Happy Father's Day to you and yours. I texted my dad, texted my stepdad. I'm going to give my dad a call later today because he's actually getting cataract surgery next day. Tomorrow. I was going to say next week, but tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how that is for him this week. I keep saying next week. But this week coming up, hopefully you are doing well. Big Tree, Tim, Constipated in Sin City, Heart of Nixie, Anissa, Negan1, and Tim, thank you for joining me as we speak and doing well. Let's see. Constipated in Sin City, what's shaking? Nothing really. Just like I said in the opening, I got my FRS2 Catalyst book available now on paperback and digital format on Kindle, so I'm excited for that. I have not seen the latest episode of Dead City, but I watched last week's episode with... So we got to talk about that, right? So let's talk about last week's episode, a little bit of Dead City. So it was Bruegel taking in Maggie, Armstrong, Hershel, Ginny. The Dama is gone, and we knew that the spoilers were not true that I shared a couple weeks ago, which is fine. You know, it just seemed a little far-fetched, but, you know, sharing what's going around always. There weren't my spoilers. So, but ultimately, Dead City, the bear, I want to call it a zombie bear, but I don't think it was a zombie bear. I think it was just a bear that for some reason was attacking Maggie and went into the area, and Maggie could not really fight it, but just outsmarted it. And it died. The CGI didn't look that bad. Just the concept was that bad. Even though it looked pretty good on the screen. And he says, did you see our pictures of Chandler on the pudding house roof? I got to sit up there with him. So very cool. And I saw your comment about that. I saw a picture of him on the pudding house roof, which was pretty cool. I do... think that's an iconic thing there too, and it's cool that Chandler Riggs is still connected with the fans, and to get up there on the roof is pretty cool. There's like certain iconic things of the Walking Dead universe, and that's one of them for sure, and that's pretty cool that they had that too. So yeah, maybe the bear was rabid. Maybe the bear was... So the other thing was that the lady was standing outside of Bruegel's place, and she gets just dragged away and pulled into the side of the building. And there's no noise, there's no growling, there's no snarling, there's no anything. She just gets mauled. She doesn't get bitten, or I mean, I guess she does, but she gets mauled more than anything. She doesn't get eaten, and that's that. But, I mean, it's one of those things where that is what the big aspect of the episode was. Because, like, let's think about the episode, right? So, Negan kicks out the Croat. Negan's family actually shows up So his wife and child show up in the distance, but we don't really get to see an interaction with them. So it was probably a fill-in actress and child. And Negan doesn't even talk to his wife and son. Because I guess he felt ashamed or wants to protect them. Doesn't want them to be a casualty of what's going on in New York City. Even though it's been hard to get into the city, but they were easily brought in. Right? They got a boat. They did all this. They were there. Boom. Send them back to Tennessee. Cool. And that is a good way, Hardnixie's saying budget-friendly writing. So that's a nice way of saying cheap writing, cheap production, cheap show. The Walking Dead set the standards so high. Like, this feels like Z Nation. It feels like Sci-Fi Network. It feels like a C-list production. What the zombie stuff was before The Walking Dead. And now, again, it's just The Walking Dead in name. The Walking Dead set the bar so high time and time again until it jumped the shark, until it went too far, until it went this, until it cut costs, until it was money stuff, until there was lawsuits, until. But it's still, the main show didn't have any of this nonsense. The only thing it really had was Shiva, some bad CGI deers, and yeah. I don't know. It's still up there as a great show. It's still an amazing thing. But now we're just getting watered down. Each week is like, how can they mess up this show more? Because the first season of Dead City didn't have any of this nonsense. Right? Like, it had Negan and Maggie and the dynamic there. And then Negan is standing outside of the church. Ginny somehow finds him. And then she points the gun at him. And we all know that Negan's not going to die. And we figured that she was going to pass out. And both things happened. If it was anybody else, except maybe Daryl, Carol, certain people like that, the plot armor, they die. Ask John Dory, you know. It's just like, come on. And now, and then Ginny, I guess, is being the quintessential annoying teenager, like young Carl. She gets wounded. She's not bit, by the way. She got stabbed in the back by the metal or the spear or whatever it was. And instead of trying to get help or cleaning it up and making sure she's okay, she just is quiet and somehow uses antibiotic cream and tries to clean it up. And it's infected, and she'll probably live, and she'll probably be fine. But, I mean, does anybody think that Negan and Maggie are going to die anytime soon, if at all? I don't think so, right? I don't think that is happening. Like, everyone always thought, like, three things. They're like, oh, is Maggie and Negan going to get together? Is someone going to kill Negan, like Hershel? Now, like Ginny? What's going to happen with any of that? I mean, there's just no way. So, I don't know. Again, I still think and I'm hoping that they connect the dots with The Walking Dead, other shows, other universe, other stuff there. Because Dead City has a nice premise. You're in New York City. You're dealing with that whole aspect there. The show, there could be gangs, there could be factions, there could be problems, there could be this, there could be lawlessness. But they just leave it alone. Like, why would you go to New York City and deal with that? There's plenty of other places to go in the United States, let alone world. Why would you go to deal with New York City? Is it necessary? They keep pushing the methane. So the Croat can set up distribution for trade. He's very powerful with that. He can learn how to trade and work on things, and he has very much power. You know, they killed the Dama off not this past week, 2 weeks ago, and then was confirmed this past week that she burned alive by the candles in the fire, and she died. So she's gone. I still don't know how she was so powerful, but either way, she's gone. And then the Croat can do something because he is a decent character. Negan is the best part of the show. Maggie's just there. Hershel's kind of annoying. Ginny's annoying. Like, why did Bruegel keep Walker Nazareth or Navrazine or whatever, Navarez or something? Because it's not like Navarez or whatever her name is. The New Babylon lady who got eaten alive by the walkers. And then she turned. And then Bruegel kept her there to show Armstrong and then kill her. And then, what was the point of this? Like, what are we talking about here? Right? To show that he knows what's going on because the Walker lady told him stuff before she turned? Like, okay. And I like Kim Coates. I think Bruegel, I just like how he delivers stuff, and it just makes sense that he's a good actor and a good part for the show, but the writing is just kind of cheesy and dumb. I mean, I agree. It does feel cartoonish. It feels out of sorts for the Walking Dead universe. But then again, the franchises, the spinoffs, haven't been anything on there too, so... yeah, we're going to... So it's just one of those things where I don't get what's going on there too. So, what are we watching? So we finally made it to the last season of Billions. We're on to season 7. But what else are we watching? That's kind of it. There's nothing really else that we're really watching. How about you guys? What are you watching? I saw a thing before I came to the stream, and it was July movies. There's 3 July movies that are coming out. Jurassic Park Rebirth, or Jurassic World Reboot, sorry. Jurassic World Rebirth. Superman and Fantastic Four. So, coming out next month, you have 3 movies. Are you going to see any of them? I'm not going to see any of them in the movie theater, but I would definitely check them out on streaming. Carol asks, Q&A, why wasn't the Dama a walker? We've seen frozen walkers, bird walkers, a million different walkers. So, again, it's like the continuity, the consistency of the show doesn't make sense, and chalk that one up to the Dama not being a walker doesn't make sense, because I think that the Dama should have been a walker because she just died, you know. And he said, yeah, another person said Resident Alien. One of my patients said Resident Alien is pretty funny. That is a good show. Cybercoastal's going to see all 3 movies. Negan 1's going to see Cheech and Chong last movie. It was an interesting documentary. Oh, nice. I was seeing something. I was watching something on YouTube, and they were talking about like guns and how they handle them on show and movies and stuff, and how they do it wrong and how the other two. So I do like the idea of I was going to say Heat 2 is being made. And if you've ever seen the movie Heat with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, a bunch of people in it. That Heat 2 hopefully continues on. I think it's Michael Mann has made the first one, and he's making the second one. And it's definitely, hopefully that's in production and going to start very soon. The other thing I want to talk about was Spaceballs 2. So there's a little, I guess, teaser for Spaceballs 2. And if you haven't seen Spaceballs, that is the satire of Star Wars. And it's Mel Brooks. And I think it's one of the best satire movies there is. And it's great because Rick Moranis plays Lord Helmet, which is a spoof of Darth Vader. Darth Helmet. And there's Barf, who's a spoof of Chewbacca. But that was John Candy, who passed away. But you should have like a smaller actor, or not that, a young actor that's going to be his son. You can call him Ralph or something. I thought was pretty funny. And we have Lone Star and Princess Vespa, and then Joan Rivers can't play. I don't even know what she is. But the C-3PO knockoff. And Mel Brooks will be back playing Yogurt. And Rick Moranis gave up acting because I believe his wife passed away, and he stopped acting to take care of his kids. So that's should be awesome to see. So it should come out in 2027, which is crazy to think that's 2027 because pretty soon half the year is over, and we're closer to 2026 than when 2025 started pretty soon. So. Carol says, well, at least we have your books to enjoy. We wait for some new shows. So, yeah, FRS2 Catalyst, as I showed you last time. I have it out now on Amazon. Very excited to share this with you guys. I worked really hard to edit it, and glad I did it. So, like I told you before about editing, very important to do. And I was ready, and I was excited to come out with you, and I'm glad I took the time to edit all of the chapters, all of the pages, all of everything, because I was finding like little things still here and there, and it's one of those things that needs to be done. So I'm excited to see the continuation of Fight for Us Universe. You know, several years have gone by since Fight for Us ended, so Fight for Us the end, and now we're on the continuation of that story. So I'm excited to see you guys check it out and let me know your thoughts, and whether it's on Kindle or paperback. But yeah, so Spaceballs, that should be pretty cool. So Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four. So I was talking to a patient of mine about Jurassic World Rebirth, and she was excited about it because evidently there's other islands that have dinosaurs, and she was like, they're not dinosaurs, they're not actually dinosaurs, they're just genetically changed things on there too. And I'm like, that's one way of thinking about it. But ultimately, that there are other islands, and I like the idea of that because, it's kind of weird, the other Jurassic Park movies. Like, Jurassic Park is the best movie by far, and then I actually like Jurassic World. And then all the other movies you can rank however you want. They're just kind of nonsense. But I'll never forget, and I said it before, I think it's the one that Vince Vaughn is in. And his daughter is like a gymnast, and she's doing the uneven bars thing in like a barn, and she like ends up kicking a velociraptor. And it was like so stupid. I was like, this is what this franchise has turned into. But again, the longer you get away from the source material, the longer you get away from the story, and you just continue to make movies and shows and spin-offs and productions of stuff that's in the same realm and universe and world, it waters it down. And Jurassic Park is a great showing of that. They kind of reinvigorated the story with Jurassic World, but Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, you know. And I was going through the channels the other day, and I was looking for something to put on. I was doing something around the house and just trying to put something on. And Forrest Gump was on. And I always put it on to see where it's at, because it is a great movie. I think Tom Hanks is one of the best actors that I've seen. And that movie is so sad at the very end. Like, I know how it ends. We all know, if you've seen Forrest Gump, you know how it ends. With Forrest and Ginny and little Forrest. And it's still so sad. Like, it like breaks your heart, especially when at the end, when he finds out that he has a son, and they go home, and it's just, and he goes to the grave. It's just so sad, but it's still one of those things. Just acting is great, and it's a great story, and you know, I know it's fictional, but still, it's like, man, Forrest Gump had a great life, crazy life, but hopefully a good life too. So, man, I don't know why this person, or it's got to be the same person, but it's just kind of crazy that people come here and still troll and complain, but that's what people do. But it's all right. We're still keeping on, having a good time and doing this. And so I haven't seen episode 207, but I doubt it's good. I doubt it's great. And then we have one more episode of Dead City. 8 episodes, which kind of feels like they're stretching it out for too many episodes. Like, I don't know how many episodes the Daryl season 3 Daryl Dixon show is going to be, season 3. But so 3 seasons of Daryl. I'm guessing we're going to say, will we get a 3rd season of Dead City? Hopefully they kind of wrap it up. And even if it's sad, like, okay, what, does Ginny die? Like, is that going to be sad? Because we know Maggie and Negan aren't going to die. Hershel, okay, doesn't matter. We know that Negan is going to have a flashback of Lucille in the finale. Is what they've said time and time again, you know, a while ago when they were filming. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And we need more of those type of connections to help the show a little bit. And I saw something somewhere that Jeffrey Dean Morgan and his wife were, I guess, talking with their son Gus, that he wants to drop out of school to pursue acting. And I'm thinking to myself, does that have to happen? Do you have to drop out of school to be a part-time actor? I guess so, right? Like, you have to go on auditions and do all that stuff. But do you really have to drop out of school if you have no acting credentials or anything? Like, you have 2 parents that are actors, but I mean, I don't care either way. I don't know if he's going to be a good actor or not. Majority of times they're not good, but we'll have to see. I mean, even some of the best acting kids are okay actors, you know. Yeah, and he says she couldn't watch The Last of Us, no more HBO. The characters just don't appeal to me like The Walking Dead or From characters do. So it's a different kind of story. So The Last of Us is drastically different than The Walking Dead universe. And I mean, besides Joel, a lot of people don't really care for Ellie. Everyone loves Dina. So I don't know how that can really be a thing. I mean, you can like Tommy. There's not I mean, the main character is Ellie, but in The Walking Dead, they had better character development. They had better more character development of the characters other than Rick. So it really helped that dynamic of, oh, I like him. Like, some people like Rick, some people don't, but a lot of people liked Daryl or Carol or Glenn or Abraham or other people that were secondary characters. You know, the main person was Rick, and then branches off of that. But they did a really good job with it. And From, same kind of thing. there's a lot of character development for a lot of that stuff there too. So yeah, Carol says, I don't think it's realistic of Negan character to turn away his wife and son, and uncharacteristic of Annie to just leave without seeing him. So I'm hoping, so in last week's episode, Annie and Joshua, I believe the son's name, that is Negan's son and wife. They got there from Tennessee, and they're in New York City. The person comes in and tells, how the person comes in that his wife and daughter are there. Wife and son are there. And he tells them to get back on the boat and the train and go back to Tennessee. And then he hides and is timid and scared and whatever. And I'm hoping that Annie didn't go away and that they'll have an interaction with Negan, because it's kind of crappy if they built it up somewhat, not a huge build up, but there was some build up. And I do like the idea of Annie sticking around, because we have to have other connections with the Walking Dead universe. And if we're trying to build up and then focus on new things, I don't think we need that. I don't think we need this show to be encompassing. Fear the Walking Dead was trying to do its own thing until season 4 when Morgan came in. And yes, Morgan changed the dynamic, but also Morgan had different characters like John and June, and it helped out a lot. But there was connecting points with The Walking Dead. So I don't know. I don't think so. Synth Lover DNA. What do you think will be the end of Dead City season 2? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I know that. I just don't think. I don't know what's going to happen with that, because the Dama is gone. Croat is still around. Maggie's still around. New Babylon is definitely still around. Armstrong is a good guy. So who is going to be the villain now? Because the way the first season ended with Hershel losing a toe and the Dama being around, well, the Dama's gone. Hershel is some young kid. That's Maggie's son. Is he really going to be a villain? Is New Babylon, I thought, was going to be more villains, which have been pretty lackluster. They haven't really done anything besides, had guns, did this. Most of them got killed off in the Central Park, overgrown grass. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how it's going to end, because I would assume they're trying to set up season 3 because they have to keep it going. It just makes more sense for them to have another season, because after this, if they just have the Daryl show, I don't care what AMC does. They could keep making shows, stop making shows, whatever, but I just hope there's something worth watching. Yeah, Carol says, why would he send them back to the unknown danger? He would be better to take care of them. So Negan should take care of Annie and Josh. But I guess the only thing that could possibly think that Negan doesn't want the danger to be them caught into. I don't want the New York City gangs and Bruegel and Walkers and whatever else to be there. But Negan is kind of running things, so Negan has the power. Negan, I guess the New Babylon people could capture Annie and Joshua and force Negan to turn himself in that way or something. But then New Babylon could still do that anyway. I don't know. It's just, again, you're right. It doesn't make sense. A lot of stuff's just not making sense with these characters, with these walkers, with this story, whatever. But I do like the idea, like I was saying before, of New York City being involved, having things there too, being able to have some sort of production of something there, have a fight for New York City, groups, gangs, power, struggle. And I think they're trying that, but it just feels like they're doing it on a budget. It's The Walking Dead on a budget. And I never felt that way on the Walking Dead main show, except when they went chintzy on some of the CGI and some of the stuff in season 7. They didn't know how to put it all together, and then some of the war and some of the writing and some of the stuff was not done very well. But not an extent that was like, wow. Like the CGI of Shiva was really good. So that's kind of where the budget went, is season 7 and everything, I'm guessing. But if you have a show long enough, more than 6 seasons, I would assume it's going to take a hit and struggle. So, but, and again, I feel like this show is really the Negan show. The Maggie stuff doesn't really matter. The Maggie stuff is just like there to kind of balance out the Negan stuff and to fill up the 45 minutes. Yeah, I never saw The Bondsman, but I know that was one season with Kevin Bacon, and they canceled that. Carol says, Hershel's just been annoying, not enough to set up to be a villain. Did you catch him trying to contaminate the water, and why? So, yeah, so he stabbed the walker in the throat, wasted a perfectly good canteen, put the walker blood in there, and was going to contaminate the water with the walker blood. Maggie caught him. He wussed out, dropped the blood on the floor, threw the canteen down, and ran away. And now they have to go find him. So it's, again, young Carl not staying in the house. Young Carl not doing what he's supposed to do. Young Carl shooting the kid at the prison. Young Carl doing that. And now it's young Hershel. Young Hershel and young Ginny being teenagers. And, every show and series and universe and movie and whatever has to have certain things. And you have to have villains and good guys and antagonists and protagonists and a problem and a solution and a problem and a solution and a story and a thing and ups and downs and a roller coaster of things. And will they make it? Will they not? But, I saw the trailer for this week's episode, and, Maggie goes to the Croat to go find Hershel, and now he's on supposedly the strip that connects the two buildings, the bridge, the glass bridge. Maggie and them are killing walkers. The glass starts to break, and Maggie has to get up, and I'm really scared for Maggie's not going to make it, but we know that Maggie's going to make it, because how can you have a show without Maggie and Negan? And so it just seems kind of dumb. And the finale is next week, and we'll have to see how it's sad and how it's this and how it's that. But is it going to be interesting? I don't know. I don't know what redeeming qualities this show could have. Because I just don't think it's anything worth watching that well. We're still watching Pop Culture Jeopardy, which is pretty funny still. We're still watching The Osbournes on Amazon. We're on season 2, and we're still watching that. And other than that, we're watching different shows and movies on TV, but nothing really so. Well, Tim, I wouldn't put anything in there, Tim, because I don't know if other people want to hear any spoilers for the episode. So yeah, just leave it out. I don't want to ruin anybody or piss anybody off that is in the chat right now. So it's fine. I'll watch it, probably later this week or next week. Yeah. Yeah, so the Walking Dead main show is like the best. We all can agree to that. So then after the main show, then you have the spinoffs, right? Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond, The Ones Who Live, Tales of the Walking Dead, which is like a mini thing, Daryl Dixon, and Dead City. That's six other series from that. That's crazy, right? Fear, World Beyond, Ones Who Live, Tales, Daryl Dixon, and 6 episodes, Dead City. 6 spinoffs. I mean, is really The Ones Who Live the best? Tales of the Walking Dead, Daryl, World Beyond. Dead City, Dead City, and then Fear. I don't know. Like, I guess that's what you got. I got to go. Fear is the last. Fear is the bottom, right? World Beyond kind of connected, so like that had more connections with Jadis, and then it really spun off the Ones Who Live show. So like. But yeah, so like The Walking Dead is the cream of the crop. So we're just talking about spinoffs here. So the 6 spinoffs. I guess you got to go Ones Who Live is the best. And then Tales was pretty good. And then 3, I guess Daryl. 4, Ones Who Live, 5, Dead City, and 6, Fear. I guess that's how we have to go, right? But it's all relative. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like Fear the Walking Dead had decent episodes. Yeah, I mean, World Beyond's pretty bad. But is World Beyond worse than Dead City? I mean, I haven't seen World Beyond in a while, but I guess so, right? But they kind of connected with CRM, explained a little bit there, had Jadis kind of connect. The kid angle was kind of weak. I don't know. It's all relative. It doesn't really matter. So 2 seasons of that versus 2 seasons of there. So I haven't seen any production news about Daryl Dixon, but we're supposedly going to get a season 4, which is all right, which I think is okay. And today is June 15th, 2025, as I make this live stream, and it's Father's Day. For those who celebrate, if you are a father, if your father is still around or father figure, it's always nice to celebrate that. Celebrate those days. I guess these are considered like Hallmark holidays. But it's a nice thing to go out to dinner or have something there too. It's nice. And like I said, my dad's in New Jersey, so I won't see him. I'll probably call him or FaceTime or whatever. And so it's a nice thing to be able to see your family and stay in touch for whatever reason. Sometimes you have to have a reason, too, so. Anissa says, my friend met Scott Gimple in Sonoy a few weeks ago. He was packing up his house and moving. He's hoping AMC makes a decision that can bring everything back to the studio there. So far, not happening. So that's pretty telling that he's leaving. Because I really have no idea what Scott Gimple. Hey, Diana. If Scott Gimple is the chief operating officer of The Walking Dead, I guess, right? He's the COO. Was the last time I checked of that. So he has nothing to do with the other shows and movies and production and stuff of AMC's stuff. He's He's everything to do with The Walking Dead. I could be wrong. I don't know. That's just what I'm guessing. And so I guess he was living in Sonoy for being close to production to have a house there. He might have multiple houses. Probably does. I would assume he makes a lot of money, or has made a lot of money from the Walking Dead franchise, and was the showrunner and was this and was that. And so you should make a pretty good amount of money. But if the main showrunner, not even the showrunner, the main, I would say executive person, that is leaving the state of Georgia, then they're probably not going to be filming there anytime soon for anything there too. If you're moving, you're giving up on there. So is he renting? Did he sell? Is for sale? I mean, I don't know if they're giving up on the Walking Dead franchise, universe, anything. But I would love to see a Commonwealth show. That would be kind of cool. You know, that would continue the story of the Walking Dead universe. That kind of makes sense. Like, all these little offshoots are nice because Daryl's involved and Carol's involved and Rick and Michonne are involved, but they came back to there. But we knew that it was a limited series. And I remember there was all these like, a limited series doesn't mean that it's one season, blah, blah, blah. It was one season. All this production, all this stuff, everything was one season. And I think Andrew Lincoln's done playing Rick Grimes and everything. And I don't know how much money you could throw at somebody for that. But I feel like AMC is definitely on the way too. So yeah, if it's for sale, and he says it's for sale through Sotheby's. That's a good question, Carol. Are they still doing tours of Sonoy? Like, can you go into Alexandria? Because did they put up any gates or anything there? Because I think that would still be cool to walk around Alexandria. Like, I know it's not the same and it's whatever, but it would be kind of cool. But I know they were gonna put a gate in, and it's gonna be a gated community. I don't know if that's already up and everything there. But Sonoy's a nice time. Like, if you live in Georgia, if you go to Georgia, if you live around Georgia and you haven't seen Sonoy, it's pretty cool. It's worth seeing. Especially downtown Sonoy there on Main Street. Nick and Norman's is hopefully still there. Hopefully the Woodbury shop is still there. Hopefully the ice cream shop is still there. Hopefully there's certain businesses and everything are still there. And the train tracks are obviously still there. And then over that would be where Alexandria was. And I don't know what it looks like now, but it would be cool to see an updated thing. And Sonoy's a nice spot, a nice area. I know for a while there it got real expensive. Like, I don't know what the homes cost in Sonoy. And Gimple, I would like to see Gimple's house. That would be kind of interesting to see Scott Gimple's house, what he has for sale, going there. Because it's probably pretty nice. It's probably $2 million, I'm guessing. Like, I wonder how much the Pudding House is. I know it's not for sale. The owners own it. Because the Claimer's house is right down the street from the Pudding House. But Anissa, do you know, are they still doing tours of Sonoy? Like, is there any local people giving tours? And I know they still film a lot of different shows and movies and everything there in Georgia, especially the Marvel stuff. Like, I wonder where that's filming the Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars. Yeah, that's pretty cool if you can walk through Alexandria. Yeah. Sid Love says, Scott M. Gimple should have invested in writing lessons instead of real estate. That's funny. The Pudding House was $600K a few years ago, yeah. And I know in Florida, the real estate is coming down. And I'm guessing it's coming across the United States as it's coming down. Yeah, Carol. So yeah, Tyler Perry Studios. You're exactly right with that. So that's where The Kingdom was filmed, at Tyler Perry Studios. And I know it was a actual fort, a military fort. But yeah, Fort McPherson sounds about right. And it's pretty cool. Like, that's amazing. Like, Tyler Perry is a great story. You know, like, started off as like nothing. Like, I don't believe he was anything really involved with anything movie related or show related or production related. And then worked his way up, and now he's got a huge production studio, and he's definitely involved with a lot of stuff that he does. I haven't known anything what he does lately, but you know, hopefully there's some stuff in the works. So is that true, Anissa, that you're really gonna move and start your own tour company? That's pretty awesome if you are. To do Grantville and Sonoy and, you know, all the different couple spots like that to go around. Yeah, I know. So, you know, so many people that have had to make sacrifices have ended up seeing the bigger picture, like Tyler Perry, like Mark Cuban, like so many stories like that. And you see the successes. You see a lot. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of failures too, but those people who had success had failures as well. So you can get through that. Constipated Sin City says he was in the hospital for 33 days, pneumonia and the flu. Less strength and breathing is quite weak. Any suggestions for better breathing? So better breathing is positional. You also want to have, so active contraction of breathing is actually breathing in, and exhale is actually passive. So active contraction is your inhale. So breathe in and out, slow and controlled, and prolong your exhale. You don't want to have like short, shallow breaths. You want to have big inhalation in through the nose, out through the mouth. And also work on your stamina, sit to stand, standing tolerance, standing balance. Try to challenge yourself, but in a way so you don't pass out. You know, listen to your body, sit and rest, and make sure you're safe with it too. So Anissa says, putting the house in Ohio on the market this week. It's time. So making the trip down to Georgia. That's pretty awesome. So that's like one of those things where you got stuff going, you got the goals oriented, you see, you know, what you want to do with it, and that's great. That's you are having the epitome of, I say, the American dream, and just the idea to make it, you know. I like the idea of seeing something, hopefully you got your homework done, how much you can charge, how often you can do tours, what you can do, be there, be involved, maybe see productions being filmed, maybe even be in productions as an extra or something. That'd be pretty awesome. I think that'd be pretty cool to get your foot in the door in, you know, the production, some sort of show, film, something. And you never know. You never know where it can be. Like, I feel like Jerry and Cooper Andrews, who played Jerry in The Walking Dead, was one of those stories that, like, he wanted to be in film, he wanted to be in this, he wanted to do stunts, he knew, like, how to do weapon work, and he could use weapons and everything. And he took a job with The Walking Dead as part of the production. I think he was, like, I want to say holding the boom, the microphone that you have the sound stuff. And he made an impression, and next thing you know, he was acting on The Walking Dead. And then he was in movies and other stuff there too, which would be pretty cool. And you never know where life can take you. But it's not easy. And that's pretty cool to get out of your comfort zone. That's what a lot of people don't understand is like you have to leave where you're at to go somewhere else. You can't be in two places at once. Like you can't be in Ohio and Georgia. You can't be in Georgia and Ohio. So where do you want to be? Like myself, I'm from New Jersey. I lived there for 18 years. I had the ability to go away for college. I came down to Tampa, went to the University of Tampa, went back home for a year, went down to Fort Lauderdale for grad school, went to grad school for physical therapy, got a job down there, moved away, moved back to Tampa Bay, been working here for a long time, bought a house, live here. My family's in New Jersey. My friends are in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. And I can't be in two places at once. But I chose this path, and I think it's been the right path for myself. And, I've always been open to stuff and been able to adapt, and because I've had to. My parents got divorced when I was 2 years old, and I had to go to after school programs. Latchkey was a program, what it was called, summer camps and everything. And then you had to go to after school to a friend's house, and you just had to make friends and be a part of this. And I was on soccer teams and baseball teams and doing everything, which is fine. And it's good because that's the real thing in life, One of my best friends growing up said a great quote. It's not what you know, it's who you know. You can know a lot of great things, but if you don't have the right connections and the right people and the right, network, it can be tough. And so you got to get out there and just see where the wind takes you. Knowing people and knowing connections and being out there involved too. And so it's just pretty cool to see that unfold. So good luck to you, Anissa, and you can, hopefully do well. I think it's a good option. And if you're feeling right, if you're trusting your gut instinct and your abilities to do it, always go with what your body and your gut is telling you. And it's usually going to steer you down the right path. Negan one says, these hot summers in Arizona, I want to be in Vermont for 4 months. Well, that's pretty far away from Arizona. Like, what if you went to, like, is it still hot in Washington State, Oregon, Montana, Idaho? Are those still, are those cooler? Is Arizona like one of the hottest places in the country? It's got to be up there, right? I wonder what is the hottest state and average temperature in the summer, especially too. Carol says, I recommend making a vision board and setting short and long-term goals, especially young folks. Exactly. So, being a therapist, physical therapist myself, we have short-term goals, long-term goals, what things we want to improve on. And you got to have stuff. Nevada's got to be up there. That's true. But around that area, right? Because like in Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, 114. Yeah, that's terrible. That's pretty bad. It has to be up there. It has to be like top 3 hottest states, if not the hottest. But like short-term goal, by this amount of time, I want to do this, or I want to have a house, or I want to have a job, or I want to have something. And then long-term goal is I want to have my own business, or I want to have whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just speaking hypothetical. And, like my goal is to retire early. My goal is to have enough money put away where I'm financially independent, where I can kind of do whatever I want when I want to do it. So, based on averages, Florida is the hottest, Google says. But how about like the hottest summer temps or something there too? Like, what does Google say is the hottest recorded temperature in the United States? Because you're probably right. South Florida is probably up there. It's probably like 80-some degrees average temperature. 88 degrees or something, the average temperature of Florida. And that's probably South Florida. Or Key West or something like that too, So you want to be able to have things, goals, whatever meaningful to you. And I like to be independent. I like to be financially independent. I like to be independent in there too. Because once you have Death Valley, that's true. Death Valley, that sounds like a terrible place. And that's got to be like what? I wonder what the highest, what's the highest record temperature? 125, 122 or something like that. And so like I've really been putting money away in my bank accounts and my 401k and my investing, and being consistent with my investing every month, especially when I can. And so I like to be that way in life too. You know, people can trust what I say and what I do. They can trust that if I say I'm going to do something, that I'll do it. And I think you have to have your word is your bond. You know, so many people nowadays, there's no accountability. There's no or the level of excellence is so low. 134 degrees is the record. That's crazy. 134. That's terrible. But ultimately, you got to have fun, guys. So hopefully today, June 15th, 2025, Father's Day, you got something planned for yourself, for your dad, for your family, even if it's just to relax. Have a barbecue. Have a good meal. Just spend time together. A phone call. Conversation. You know. Like I was joking with my wife, and I'm going to joke with my dad, that my dad has cataract surgery tomorrow in one of his eyes. And then he has knee replacement surgery in July. And then if all goes well, he'll have the other cataract done in the other eye. And so that's a lot going on. And he's healthy. He's been cleared by his cardiologist and cleared by everything. And so he'll be all right, but you never know. And my dad's 75. He'll be 76 in October. And so it's one of those things where you just have to keep going and enjoying the time when you have it. And hopefully have a high quality, high amount of functional mobility and functional ability. And enjoy it while you can. Because when we get older, it's tough. It's harder to do. Don't wait. You know, I have my plans for this year, next year, the next couple of years. Even, 8-10 years from now, I have plans for things. Whether it's vacations, I want to go to Hawaii on a nice cruise. I want to go to different places. I have a vacation list. And, years and years ago, now I don't know when it originally came out. I remember talking. I feel like I was asking somebody here on a live stream about, do people read books still? And people were like, yeah, I read books. And I was like, oh, okay, because I have an idea for a zombie apocalypse story. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you should do it. And I did. And I'm still writing to this day. And I've learned a lot about myself and how the process works and what doesn't. And you can do it. Hey, Jeannie. And hopefully you can just do it as well. Like I didn't do anything special. I'm not anything better than anybody else. But I put the time in. Consistent effort, consistent work, consistent, investing, consistent stuff. Every day, every week, every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. Next thing you know, you've been doing it for, so many years. But it's just crazy, man. You can do it. Keep working at it. Keep trying. Every day, a little bit at a time, And I can't say that enough. And I know we all want it now. Actually, we all want it done yesterday. We all want the millions of dollars in the bank account. We all want to live nice, easy, lavish lifestyle. But that's not always our paths, I mean, at this point in my life, I'd be like, yeah, I would take a bunch of money and retire if I could. Because I would do other stuff. I wouldn't just do nothing. I would be able to, write more, do more YouTube stuff, do stuff around the house, travel more. But that's probably not going to happen, just like the rest of us too. So that's right. Like Diana says, keep moving forward, one step at a time. That's how every journey begins, with a single step. All right, guys. So like I said, happy Father's Day to you and yours. Today is June 15th, 2025. Episode 207 comes on tonight of Dead City. And then next week is 208, the season finale of Dead City. So we'll have to see if it gets better, setting up a possible third season. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We truly appreciate the love and support. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can achieve those goals no matter what they are. Keep working hard. Enjoy tonight's episode. If you're going to watch NBA tonight, game, was it 5? You're going to watch hockey in a couple days. The Panthers are up 3-2 on the Edmonton Oilers. But ultimately, guys, I'll be back next week, next Sunday, to talk about Dead City and other stuff that we're watching. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. And as always, I'll